Today we'll be diving into the story of Bradley Bishop, the oldest man to ever be in the FBI's top 10 wanted list. Although he committed his crimes almost 50 years ago, he only recently was removed from the list in 2018 at the ripe old age of 81 years old. His story begins in 1936 when he was born in Pasadena, California to his mother Lobelia St. Germain and father William Bradford Bishop Sr. He attended South Pasadena High School and received a Bachelor of Science degree in history from Yale University and a Master of Arts degree in International Studies from Middlebury College. After graduating from Yale in 1959, Bishop married his high school sweetheart, Annette Weiss, with whom he had 3 sons. He then joined the United States Army and spent 4 years working in counterintelligence, where his skills as a polyglot served him greatly. It was reported that Bishop spoke 5 languages fluently: English, Italian, French, Spanish, and Serbo-Croatian. After leaving the Army, Bishop joined the U.S. State Department and served in the Foreign Service in many postings overseas, Milan and Florence from 1968 to 1972. He also served in Africa, including posts in Ethiopia and Botswana, from 1972 to 1974. However, in 1976, the State Department was stingy with promotions, and Bishop did not get the promotion he felt he had worked for. Despite reassurances from colleagues that most of them also failed to get promoted, he took it with less than typical fortitude. Colleagues said that around the same time, he had also complained of constant fights with his 37-year-old wife, Annette, and 68-year-old mother, Lobelia. Both had reportedly nagged him for being washed up and treading water, going nowhere in his job. He was also known for wanting to put his enemies into place, and therefore it is likely that the failed promotion combined with family tension is what set the next tragic events into motion. On March 1st, 1976, Bishop told his secretary he was ill and was going to see a doctor. Although instead of reporting to a health clinic, he went home, making 3 stops along the way. One was at a gas station where he purchased and filled a gas can. The second at a White Flint Mall where he purchased a ball-peen hammer and shovel from a hardware store. And the third was at a bank where he withdrew several $100s in cash. Investigators believe that he arrived home around 7:30 to 8 p.m. and that night he bludgeoned Lobelia, Annette, and his 3 sons, 14-year-old William, 10-year-old Brenton, and 5-year-old Jeffrey, to death. It is believed that Annette was killed first, as she was found beside a book that she was reading, and the boys were presumably killed next, followed by Lobelia. None of the victims had any chance to defend themselves. Following the murders, Bishop took an all-night drive to Columbia, North Carolina, where he dug a shallow fire pit in a dense area of woods, piled the bodies into it, doused them with gasoline, and set them on fire. On March 2nd, a North Carolina forest ranger noticed the smoke and discovered the horrific scene. He then reported his findings to the local police. Initially, there were few clues in the disturbing case. 2 articles of the victims' clothing bore the labels of expensive department stores in Maryland. The shovels were also determined to have come from a Maryland hardware store. However, at the time, the Maryland police had no missing persons report that matched the victims. 6 days later, on March 8th, a neighbor of the Bishops contacted the police, suspicious of their absence. Lieutenant Joe Sargent arrived at the home and met with the neighbor. When he went to the front door, he noticed blood droplets on the porch. Upon entering the home, he noticed more droplets on the floor leading to the foyer. The blood trail also went up the stairs to an upstairs bedroom. Inside the bedroom, the floor, bed, and ceiling were splattered with blood. Investigators soon connected both cases, and dental records confirmed the identity of the remains in North Carolina. Detectives believe that after Bishop dumped the bodies, he bought a pair of tennis shoes near Columbia and then dumped the car at a campground in Great Smoky Mountains National Park before vanishing. It was discovered by a ranger on March 18th, almost 3 weeks after the murders. Police inspected it and found the bloodied ball-peen hammer as well as a receipt from the hardware store for its purchase. Because Bishop still possessed a State Department passport, he was able to travel much easier than civilians, as custom officers are generally more lax to those with official US government passports. He has not officially been seen since the murders, but investigators believe that Bishop first fled the United States to Europe. The first known sighting of Bishop was by Roy Harrell, a State Department co-worker who placed him in Italy. In an unsolved mystery interview, Harrell recalled traveling in Italy in 1978 and had a highly unlikely chance meeting. While in the city of Sorrento, he was in the men's bathroom when he saw a bearded, haggard man wearing a soft cotton sports coat. At closer glance, he realized it was Bishop and confronted him, asking him to travel with him to Sorrento and Rome to surrender to the Italian police. Bishop panicked at this improbable reunion and then ran when Harrell suggested surrendering to the authorities. Other notable sightings include those of a Swedish woman who said she had collaborated with Bishop while on a business trip in Ethiopia. She reported spotting him twice in a public park in Stockholm in July of 1978 during a span of 1 week. She stated she was absolutely certain that the man was Bishop, but she didn't contact the police at the time because she had not yet realized he was wanted for murder in the US. Over the years, Bishop has been reported all over Europe, notably Belgium, England, Finland, the Netherlands, Germany, Greece, Italy, Spain, Sweden, and even Switzerland. Since then, the FBI has created a digital rendering of what Bishop would look like today, in hopes that this would help lead to his arrest. Currently, Bishop would be 86 years old, but there is still no evidence of his whereabouts or if he is still in fact alive. Despite this, he is still wanted by the FBI, and if you have any useful information, you should contact your local authorities. Thank you for watching.